Happy Sunday, Pickball Nation. Matt Taylor here alongside Danny Siv. And we got a full slate of NFL action coming your way. We got picks, player props, and score projections, all brought to you by the artificial intelligence-backed computer simulations that is the Pick Vault. You don't want to miss this, so keep listening. Get ready to unlock your money, and get ready for Chiefs and Buccaneers at 4:25 on America's Game of the Week. Keep listening. This is the Pick Vault.
You are now entering the Pick Vault, taking sports betting to the next level. No more winging it. It's time to get your money. This is the premier predictive sports media platform and entertainment network. We use artificial intelligence, computer-backed simulations, sports news, sports data, and expert analysis to help you unlock your money. Get ready to start winning. This is the Pick Vault, and this is Matt Taylor and Danny Siv.
This the Pick Vault. Gonna sit you down and listen to this real talk. Ain't no first or second option, this the default. Turning picks into these dollars, gonna let them fall. Raining down these daily winnings like an aerosol. Analytics calculated just to win it all. Gonna see when it comes to choosing, we got all them solved. Ain't no picks that needin' fixed, and you know who to call. Cause this the Pick Vault.
And he is right. That's Jay Live Official. Welcome to the Pick Vault. And Dan, we have a full slate of NFL action. And really, there are some really interesting games on the slate for today. But first and foremost, we're happy you guys are tuning in and listening. Again, we got picks, player props, and score projections coming your way throughout this episode to help you unlock your money. So keep listening. And again, get ready to unlock your money and get ready for a full slate of NFL action. Now, Dan, without further ado, let's start here with a 1 o'clock time slot. And let's jump right into these ball games and let's talk about picks, player props, and score projections. So, Dan, with this first game, 1 o'clock p.m., we have the Miami Dolphins, one of the most interesting teams of the year. Obviously started out with Fitzpatrick at quarterback. He played well. He played at a very high level. And all of a sudden, coach made a very interesting decision, made the switch over to 92-3 now, made the switch over to Tua Tagovailoa to be the quarterback here for this Dolphins team. Now, Tua comes in, looks great his first few starts, looks great even in that game that he came in against the New York Jets. And all of a sudden, last week, comes out, looks very shaken, and we see Fitzpatrick take over for him late in that ball game. And again, one of the conversations is, will he be the starting quarterback moving forward? And as soon as the game gets completed, and all of a sudden the coach has the conversation in the media, immediately announcing that Tua is the starting quarterback moving forward. So, Dan, Tua will be taking the ball here for the Dolphins and obviously going up against this Jets team. Now, this Jets team has just been piss poor throughout the start of the season. And all of a sudden, we have seen them, and again, we've talked about it now on numerous occasions, that at some point in time, when a team is this bad, about week 6, week 7, week 8 of the NFL season, we start to see a team that is this bad start making real decisions that don't worry about this season, but focus on next season. And we've seen that now from the Jets extensively. We saw them get rid of Le'Veon Bell. But all of a sudden, a choice that we've seen now is Sam Darnold is going to be coming back on the field today. He was injured last week. Joe Flacco looked good the past 2 weeks. Oh, yeah. I mean, Joe Flacco really looked like, again, with the system, you can only look so good. With the weapons, you can only look so good. But Joe Flacco is a smart veteran quarterback in this league, and all of a sudden he's taking the ball here from Joe Flacco. I'm talking about Sam Darnold today, and the Jets are taking on the Dolphins. So, Dan, without further ado, let's hear the Pick Vault score projection. Again, brought to you by the artificial intelligence-backed computer simulations, Dan. And then, obviously, let's hear the Pick Vault pick.
All right, so Matt, we got the Miami Dolphins with 25 to the New York Jets 18, making that right at that spread, which is -7. But the Dolphins for the pick is Miami Dolphins -7 for the Pick Vault projection. And Matt, like you were saying too, with the Jets handing the ball back to Sam Darnold here, do you think they're going to regret that decision, or is this a game where Sam Darnold's going to maybe be the quarterback that they want going forward, or is there really a reason that he's back out there today and going away from Flacco? Because the Jets have been playing pretty well for as of late, at least.
Well, in my personal opinion, I think you're seeing Sam Darnold on the field today because the Jets aren't ready to say they want to go out and get Trevor Lawrence. I think there is a decision that needs to be made, and it doesn't need to be made by Gase. It doesn't need to be made by anyone in that organization. It needs to be made by management. It needs to be made by ownership, then the decision needs to be, are we moving away from Sam Darnold? Because this Sam Darnold experiment, and that's exactly what it's been, this Sam Darnold experiment has been nothing but a failure, a complete failure from day one. We haven't seen him even, when I think of Sam Darnold, and it's sad to say this, but it's the truth. When I think of Sam Darnold, what I think of is I'm seeing ghosts out there. That quote has defined this man's career. And yeah, it was one day. And yeah, it was against Bill Belichick and the Patriots and that amazing defense, especially in years past. Yeah. But that quote coming from any quarterback, especially a quarterback, remember, in New York, in the media capital really of the world.
In that situation,
and all of a sudden you're going to say something like that. That quote, for me, defines the career of Sam Darnold. And moving forward, that's going to be a decision. Is Trevor Lawrence the answer? I don't think so. To be honest with you, I don't. I've said it now on numerous occasions that I think Kyle Trask, and I've said it before now, he's the Heisman frontrunner, but before that, I've been saying that Kyle Trask is the most complete quarterback prospect in this upcoming draft. Many people across the board keep saying that Trevor Lawrence is the most complete quarterback prospect to come into the league since Peyton Manning, but I'm not even saying that I believe that.
A lot of praise.
I may agree with that statement, to be honest with you. I may agree with that statement, except I would put Kyle Trask above Trevor Lawrence right now. And that has nothing to do with the fact Trevor Lawrence, the only reason I believe that Trevor Lawrence would be a good decision for any team across the board is because he's a proven winner. We've seen this man only lose one game in his college career, and that came to LSU in a national championship game. With that being said, Dan, I do not believe Trevor Lawrence is the answer for this Jets team. I think Trevor Lawrence needs to go into a situation that has some players, have some weapons, because look what he's done. He's at Clemson. And Clemson, yeah, he can look good at Clemson. But all the quarterbacks across the board that have been at Clemson look good in that system. Because why? Because they have great receivers. They have a great defense that sets up their offense. And frankly, they have a great coach who sets up everything across the board to not only make big plays downfield, but also to have his team prepared and ready for everything across the board. So Trevor Lawrence looks great in that system specifically, but that is not that impressive in my opinion. I think anyone that's at that level, I think Kyle Trask in that situation would look even better than a Trevor Lawrence.
All right. It's going to come down to today, Matt. The Jets, if the Jets somehow find a way to win this game and the Jaguars lose, the Jets are saying bye-bye to that number one pick. So it's going to get interesting here down the stretch for sure, especially making that decision. Do you take Trevor Lawrence? Because let's face it, if the Jets get the number one pick, they're going to do it. If they don't do it, their fan base is going to get pissed. But that's almost like a poison right there. They take T-Law. He's not what everyone makes him out to be. So
I'll be honest with you. I don't agree with that. I think there's a legitimate chance. And again, no one knows this. I don't even know this. You don't know this either, and neither does anyone that wants to say they know this right now, because I don't even think the Jets know the answer today. But there's a legitimate chance that the Jets get the first pick and they do not pick Trevor Lawrence.
Ooh, I don't know, man.
I'm telling you, I think there is a legitimate chance that is the case.
Really?
There's a lot of things that could happen between now and for all we know, Trevor Lawrence could get injured. Again, anything could happen across the board, and I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm not hoping that's going to happen, and God forbid that happens. But across the board, you have no idea what's going to happen between now and then. And that's why you asked me to start this conversation. You asked me, why is Sam Darnold taking the ball today? And I think the reason Sam Darnold's taking the ball from Joe Flacco, who's looked great for 2 weeks, great comparatively. When I say great, no, Joe Flacco does not look great. Okay,
she shouldn't.
But he looks great comparatively to the situation that he's been held.
I agree.
The hand that he's been dealt.
I give him a lot of credit.
And so the reason Sam Darnold's on the field today is because the Jets do not know the answer to the question that you just said. Which is who are they going to take with the number one pick? They do not know, and that's why Sam Darnold's taking the ball today, 100%. Because if they 100% knew that they were going to take Trevor Lawrence, they would tank.
Yeah,
they would tank.
I would say so, and you don't want them to tank, but I feel like that's what everyone wants them to do. So yeah, it should be an interesting game all around. Sam Darnold's got a lot to prove today.
So Sam Darnold's taking the ball, and I do think we have seen glimpses of hope in the career of Sam Darnold. I believe that Sam Darnold will be the backup quarterback next season for the Patriots. And I think there'll be a very legitimate chance that Sam Darnold becomes Bill Belichick's next stud quarterback. And I do believe that because right now, I believe all he needs is a system. And right now he has no system in New York. And frankly, he doesn't have the weapons that he needs. And all the weapons he did have, Le'Veon Bell, Robbie Anderson, some of these weapons, all of a sudden they're now disappeared because ownership, management, and coaching, whatever you want to call it, has made bad decisions across the board. With all that being said, Dan, I do agree with the pick ball projection today. I do believe that we're talking about at least a 7-point win here for the Miami Dolphins. I think Tua needs to come back, and Tua needs to show everyone that he's worth the conversation, because he was a spotlight in this NFL season so far, especially in that 3 week time period where he did start balling out a little bit. People started to question, maybe he is better than we thought. Maybe he is better than Joe Burrow. Maybe he is better than Justin Herbert. But again, let's see it on a more consistent basis. And today, I think that's what we're going to see out of him today, and that's why the Dolphins get a 7-point win, at least a 7-point win. So Dolphins -7 is the pick vault pick. Now, Dan, moving on to the second game here, we are talking about Justin Herbert. We are talking about another rookie quarterback taking the ball, and in my opinion, from day one, I've said this has been the most impressive run that I've seen for a rookie quarterback. I think I have not seen a rookie quarterback put up this type of performance in a long time. I don't even recall if I've seen it at this level. And that the situation we're talking about, taking the ball in LA, in, again, another main media hub of the United States of America, where you know you're going to be the conversation. You go through Hard Knocks, and everyone is leaning towards Tyrod Taylor being the starter quarterback. Everyone's talking about Tyrod Taylor being the starting quarterback moving forward. Your coach comes out in the media and says, Justin's great, but Tyrod is right now. Justin's the future, but Tyrod is our quarterback today. Now, whatever happened inside that medical tent, whatever happened inside that
little inside job,
whatever happened, it doesn't really matter. All I know is the fact that Tyrod Taylor gets his ribs broken by a medical staff employee of the Chargers itself is questionable to me. But whatever happens, I think everything happens for a reason. We're seeing Justin Herbert play, I believe, some of the best quarterback any rookie can play coming into the NFL. So, Dan, as they go into a tough matchup between the Buffalo Bills, which, again, another stud quarterback that has been a little bit of a surprise for me. I never really believed in Josh Allen, but all of a sudden Josh Allen is putting up crazy numbers this year, and his team's at the top, right there in the conversation with the Dolphins, but right there in the conversation at the top of the AFC East. Now, Dan, today we got the Chargers and the Bills. Let's hear the pick vault score projection and obviously the pick vault pick as well.
All right, Matt, we got Justin Herbert winning this one. So the Chargers 28 to a Buffalo Bills 23. So the pick vault play will be Chargers plus 4.5 because, again, they're going across the country. They are going into Buffalo in a hot Bills team, so take the points. It is the safe play. But, Matt, speaking about Josh Allen, I was never really high on him either, and I think he might be one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks that I've probably ever seen in the NFL, because there's some days he'll throw for 300 yards, and then there's some days where he'll have 3 picks, fumbles, so he just doesn't always have it all figured out together. And harping on Herbert, I mean, the kid puts up 300-plus yards every single game with a team. This Chargers team, Matt, is very, very battered and bruised all across the board, defensively, offensively. So what this kid's been working with all season, it makes it even more impressive because he goes out there each game and just balls and plays the way that he knows how to play football. And this Chargers team is going to be a definite threat for the next upcoming year. So Chargers plus 4.5 is the pick vault play for the
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I want to say, I do believe when you're talking about Tua and when you're talking about Justin Herbert, both rookie quarterbacks in incredible situations, and both rookie quarterbacks, their teams are competing for playoff spots this season as rookies. It's astounding and it's extraordinary to watch. One thing that I've noticed, both these organizations, the Dolphins and the Chargers, in my opinion, tried to take a page out of the playbook of the Chiefs. Right? When Patrick Mahomes came into the league, he didn't start immediately. He was a backup quarterback for Alex Smith. He learned the system. He learned the offense. He learned from Andy Reid directly, and he grew as a quarterback. And now we're seeing maybe one of the greatest players of all time in Patrick Mahomes play at the highest level. So I believe the reason Justin Herbert wasn't going to be the starter this year and they were going to go behind Tyrod Taylor, and I do believe the reason that Tua started on the bench and Ryan Fitzpatrick started as the quarterback is because they've tried to take the a page out of the playbook of the Chiefs and see some sort of development and some sort of long-term solution, not the quick fix. Yeah. And that's something that I believe the Jets really, really, really should consider, because just because you get a talent like a Trevor Lawrence or just because you get a talent like a Trask doesn't mean your organization's fine. Because like I'm telling you, Sam Darnold is great. He's a great quarterback. And talking about a great quarterback, I'm talking about from college perspective, coming into 100%. The pros.
Yeah.
Just because you get the guy you want doesn't mean everything else is roses, right?
All right. Well, I agree, Matt. I think the Jets should have gotten Joe Flacco if they were going to make a move like that. That should have been done years ago. But again, with management and coaching, everything goes away. But again, he should have had a mentor of some sort, especially having so much praise in the kid.
No, 100%. And we've seen it. We've seen it work. And I believe when I say we're taking a page out of the Chiefs playbook, it's really a page out of the Packers playbook, because they went and they got Aaron Rodgers, right? And going back, I'm talking about, back a while back now, but they went and got Aaron Rodgers while they had Brett Favre. And now they're doing the same thing now. They went out and got Jordan Love in this draft while they still have Rodgers. They're trying to build that type of consistent play at the quarterback position, which will bring you into the playoffs and bring you into the future. So, Dan, 2 games in. Now let's keep going down the line here. We're talking about, again, another amazing, extraordinary team that surprised me this season has been the Las Vegas Raiders. Maybe it's the juice that they're getting from coming into a new stadium. Maybe it's the juice that they're bringing, just having John Gruden coaching and obviously Derek Carr playing the best football of this man's career. And again, you got to give John Gruden, the quarterback guru, the credit there. I mean, not all the credit, because obviously it's now evident that Derek Carr puts in the work on and off the field to not only know the playbook, but also to be able to throw the ball down the field. Because I've talked about it on week in and week out that I believe that as good of a quarterback as Derek Carr is, one thing that I've missed from him, or one thing that I haven't seen, one thing that I want to see moving forward, is that deep ball down the field. Now 3-4 weeks in a row, he's been proving me wrong, consistently throwing the ball down the field, throwing the deep ball down the field, and connecting with his receiver. So, Dan, the Raiders are taking on the Atlanta Falcons again in the NFC South with my Carolina Panthers, but the Falcons have been a disappointment to their organization now really for the past 10 years.
Oh, yeah. I would say
to be honest, since Quinn got the job, now he's not the coach anymore, but since Quinn got the job in Atlanta, it's been a complete disappointment. Even the year they made it to the Super Bowl, they really had that game won, and they lost it, obviously, to the Patriots. Everyone knows that 28-3 comeback that Tom Brady led. But this Falcons team, again, is disappointing everyone across the board. And when you have Matt Ryan, you have Julio Jones, you have some of the weapons they have, you have Freeman, you have some of these players across the board, you gotta be playing at a higher level, and they're just not doing it. So, Dan, today we're talking about 1 o'clock, the Raiders taking on the Falcons. Let's hear the pick vault score projection and the pick vault play.
All right, Matt. So the Raiders just went out 27 to an Atlanta Falcons 25, but the pick vault play will be Atlanta Falcons +3. Obviously, like we said, this Falcons team has been so disappointing, but you listed it, Matt. These guys have so many weapons. Their offense is complete. Not that the Raiders offense isn't more complete, but coming into Atlanta, this is going to be a tough game. You know how it is. The Atlanta Falcons, probably the biggest question mark team. Will they show up? Today they do show up, though. Look for a big day out of obviously Matt Ryan, Calvin Ridley, and hopefully Todd Gurley gets some things going, because there's been a lot of hate around that guy. But since he's been with the Falcons, he's played pretty well, Matt. So again, Falcons +3 is the pick vault.
I couldn't agree anymore. This Falcons team has been a disappointment, but they've always kind of stayed relevant. They've always kind of stayed in the conversation, and they do compete at a very high level week in and week out. They just don't find ways to win. And that's one thing that I hope we can see them do, moving forward at some point, because this organization itself has been one that obviously is filled with talent. And one day I hope we see them, start winning games, even though my Carolina Panthers are in the same division and they're kind of a rival to the Panthers. I do want to see them do big things moving forward. So again, pick vault play is Atlanta Falcons +3 at -104. Now, Dan, moving down, staying with another interesting team, and that is Kyler Murray. Staying with one of the storylines, if not the storyline of the year, is Kyler Murray. And he's playing, again, some of the best football, and is right in the thick of the conversation for NFL MVP this season. And that goes back to what he's been doing, not only on the field and doing the ridiculous plays and making things happen, Hail Marys, whatever you want to call it. But it's also because he's winning ball games, right? He's not just doing ridiculous plays. He's also winning ball games, and his team is right there in the toughest division, in my opinion, in football, with the Seahawks and the Rams right there with them. Arizona Cardinals taking on the New England Patriots, who again have been nothing but a disappointment this season. But even with how bad this team has played, and even with how bad their record looks, they're not out of the conversation still.
No.
For making the playoffs, especially if the NFL decides to extend the playoffs, and we're getting closer by the day, I believe. Every time that a Ravens game gets pushed back, every time that we're talking about the Broncos playing a game without their quarterback, they might extend this thing, and blow the whole playoff picture around here, and that'll be very interesting to see moving forward. But Dan, this Patriots team, I want to talk about them very briefly, because you're talking about Cam Newton. He's playing a lot better football. He's been holding on to the ball a lot more. Hasn't been turning it over at the rate that we saw him doing in the beginning of the season. And all of a sudden, they started off hot. This this Patriots team, and they started off looking like a contender.
Yeah.
Cam Newton in that Monday night game against the Seattle Seahawks looked great. Yeah, they lose it on the goal line. And I like the fact that they went there and they gave Cam Newton the ball, their guy, they gave him the ball and gave an opportunity to win the game. Didn't happen. We've now seen them lose 3, 4, 5 games within one score. This team competes at a very high level. And one thing that I want to remind everyone out there at Pickball Nation is this team had 9 players before the season start. 9 defensive players for the best defense in the NFL last season. All of a sudden, didn't play because of COVID-19. Yep. They opted out of the season. So if you had those 9 players, this team looks totally different. And I do believe they might be at the top of the AFC East. And that's something we're going to see moving forward. I believe next season specifically. Don't count Bill Belichick out this year, but also don't count Bill Belichick out moving forward. Again, watch out Sam Darnold. Watch out AFC East. Watch out New York Jets. They're going to do it with your guy, I'm telling you.
Matt, that fan base will freak out.
So, Dan, Arizona Cardinals and the Patriots. Let's hear the Pick Vault score projection and then the Pick Vault play as well.
All right, Matt, we got New England Patriots 26 to the Cardinals 23. So, yes, there is an upset alert. And like you said, the Patriots are going to bring a type of offense today with Sony Michel back. I think that's a big thing for not only Cam Newton, but the Patriots in general. If the Patriots can start off with a lead, they could just ground and pound with Newton, protect the football, and they're going to be more than okay. I look at this game as much as, you say Kyler Murray and Cam Newton. I look at it as Bill Belichick and Kingsbury. You got young versus old, and I'm not saying I don't think Bill Belichick will let him get the upper hand. You know how much hype goes into this Arizona Cardinals offense and everything that they've basically brought to the table, but we saw what people could do to Kyler Murray. If you can compose him a little bit, yes, he does make plays happen, but even last week, if you don't let him rush for the ball and get out of the pocket and make yards happen, then you could easily beat this team. So again, Patriots play is Patriots money line plus 120. Get the value, Matt. It's there.
So like you said, the Pick Vault play is the Patriots money line at plus 120. And again, I think that goes back into the fact that we're talking about a Patriots team that competes every single week. It goes back to the fact that when the lights are the highest, when the lights are the brightest, and the stage is the biggest possible stage, this team thrives. Right, we saw it on that Thursday. We saw that on there against the Seahawks early in the year. We saw it 2 weeks ago against the Ravens. This team doesn't really win the games they're supposed to win, but they compete and they even pull out some of the games that maybe many people think they should lose. And I think this is the case today. Plus 120, get them. They do show up. And again, Bill Belichick, we saw him make Lamar Jackson look like a rookie quarterback 2 weeks ago. And all of a sudden, I think we're going to see him maybe take a quarterback that's been so great this year in Kyler Murray and throw him a little bit off his game here. So, Dan, let's keep going down the stretch. And now we're talking about your team, your New York Giants, as they take on a Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals team. Now, obviously, Joe Burrow, we're hoping for a speedy recovery for Joe Burrow. One of the greatest rookies. Again, we're talking about prospects coming into the league. One of the greatest prospects we've seen come into the league in a while. And we're talking about a guy that brings a lot of energy and a lot of that winning mentality to an organization that needed it more than ever. And the Cincinnati Bengals team was on a totally different trajectory than we've seen them previously. This season, things have seemed a little bit different. Right? We were in a moment where we finally saw maybe there was some hope. Maybe not this year hope, but hope for the future. And all of a sudden, I believe this blow to Burrow and blow really to the whole organization is something that's going to set this organization back significantly moving forward, because Burrow's going to come back. And Burrow will play at a high level. We know it. We've seen players come back from ACL injuries. We've seen even Tom Brady, the greatest of all time, come back from an ACL injury in the past. So, again, don't count Burrow out and don't count this Bengals team out, but this is something that definitely hurts their chances, not only this year, but obviously moving forward into the next few seasons. It's going to be very tough for him to bounce back in a time period that the fans of Cincinnati really are looking for. So, Dan, what is the Pick Vault score projection today for the Giants and the Bengals? And then let's hear the Pick Vault play.
All right, Matt. So I love this one, honestly. So the Giants with 25 to a Cincinnati Bengals 20. Obviously, the Giants do get the job done, like you said. Burrow-less. So the Pick Vault play is Giants money line. Yeah, it is juicy of a money line, minus 265, but it's the safest play. The Giants are obviously in the hunt, which is crazy to even say, against that Washington football team that we did see Alex Smith ball out a couple days ago. So look for the Giants get a big win here, because again, They're trying to make a statement in the NFC East. I know it's not much of a statement because they have about 4 wins, but today Giants get a big win, and their draft pick, Xavier McKinney, is back in their defense. So look for a big dub out of the boys today. So Giants, again, money line is the pick ball play.
You say make a statement, and I understand what you're trying to go with there, and I understand, you're trying to make a statement 100%, but again, you're talking about a New York Giants team that only has beaten very bad teams, and this would be the same thing. There's no statement made tonight. At all. Even if they get a big win, they can win this game 40-0, and I don't think there's any statement made whatsoever. No, because you're talking about a team that has no quarterback now. You're talking about a team that, without that quarterback, won one game last year. So all of a sudden, you're going to give them an opportunity and be like, oh, we're going to make a statement today. You're not making a statement.
No. Listen, we got to go into this game and just win the game. It's a statement.
Daniel Jones has 4 wins in his NFL career, and 3 of them against the Washington football team, or what was the Redskins last season. So there's no statement to be made here. This is not an impressive win for the New York Giants if they do get it, and they will get it. Yes, it is a must win because they're trying to compete for a playoff spot. But frankly, I just don't see it happening this season for the New York Giants. I think it's going to come down to the Washington football team and the New York Giants. And I do think that the Giants do have the tiebreaker over the Giants currently. But you're talking about, in my opinion, this team and the New York Giants are going to have to win games that they shouldn't win. This is the game they should win. They're going to have to, at some point in time, if they want to make a statement. There's no statement made in games that you win when you're supposed to win, right? If the Patriots win today, that's a statement because they're not supposed to win. You're playing against Kyler Murray. You're not supposed to win. This game is no statement to be made for the New York Giants because they're supposed to win this game, and they're supposed to win it handily.
That almost makes me nervous, though, when they're supposed to win the game. But again, pick vault, ride with it, money line, Giants, baby. Come on, Matt. It's a statement. Just let it be a statement. Let me have this moment. If the Panthers win today, is that a statement against the Vikings? We'll get into that later, but it's the same thing. That's probably a little more.
How is that the same thing? How is that the same thing? The Vikings have won multiple games this year. You're talking about a Bengals team that has no quarterback whatsoever. They're out of the picture. The Vikings are 2 games back in their division, in a division with the Packers at the helm in the NFC. Right now, if the season were to end, the Vikings and the Panthers would both be on the outside of the playoffs looking in only by a game and a half.
All right. Listen, you got this one. I lost.
So there's no winning or losing here. I'm just saying I don't agree with the statement comment for this New York Giants team. If they want to make a statement, they got to win some games that they shouldn't win. This game they should win. If they don't, that's a statement. That's what I'll say to you. So moving forward here at 1 o'clock, we're still at the 1 o'clock time slot. A ton of 1 o'clock games today. We have the Cleveland Browns taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, again, both these teams are very, very interesting. Baker Mayfield's on the field here for Cleveland, playing the best football of his career. And the most interesting part of that conversation is Odell Beckham Jr. not being on the field again for this team, out for the season with that ACL injury for Odell Beckham Jr. But all of a sudden, Baker looks like Baker. Baker looks like the guy we saw in college. Baker looks like the guy we saw at Oklahoma. Baker looks like he's having fun. Baker looks like he's energized. Baker looks like he's playing smart football. He's not just playing good football. He's playing smart football. For the first time in his career, I've seen him throw the ball away, Dan. For the first time in his career, I'm seeing him not trying to force. For the first time in his career, I'm seeing him drop back in the pocket, right? And he'll take a sack and take it like Tom Brady. Many people across the board make fun of Tom Brady because he takes sacks and he crumbles to the ground. But Baker needs to start doing that. And all of a sudden, this week, last week, and the previous few weeks, I've seen something out of Baker that I have not seen him do in his career whatsoever. And that's play smart football, not just risky football, right? Baker at Oklahoma was known for the fact that he could make plays from nothing. And yes, that's a big part of his game. And that's something you don't want to lose. But whatever's going on in Cleveland right now, and I'm not saying it's because Odell Beckham Jr. is out, but whatever is going on in Cleveland, whoever's talking to him, whoever's got Baker's ear, has him not only playing that football, where he could still make plays, and he could still do things that many people cannot in this league, but he's still playing smart football. And that's a differentiating point that I believe, if he can keep it up, this Browns team moving forward, when Odell Beckham Jr. does come back next season, if he can continue to play at the level he is now, and you add in one more weapon for him, watch out. Because this team is competing without their best receiver. They're competing, and they're winning ball games in the NFL. Now, on the other team, on the other side of this argument, the Jacksonville Jaguars, again, are a team that is competing for one thing only, and that is that first-round draft pick. And I do believe, I'm not saying they're tanking. They don't have to tank on purpose because this team is that bad. They're just as bad, in my opinion, as the New York Jets. But again, Dan, let's hear the pick vault score projection for the Cleveland Browns and the Jacksonville Jaguars, Baker Mayfield and Gardner Minshew. Let's hear it.
All right, Matt. Well, Baker Mayfield is going to play smart football today because the Cleveland Browns win this one 25 to a Jacksonville Jaguars 18. So again, the pick vault play is Cleveland Browns -7. And to be honest with you, Matt, I could see this game getting out of hand. I could see, like you said, Baker Mayfield playing that style of football. And against a Jaguars team, we might be able to see him make some crazy plays happen. And I'm going to look for that today, especially with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in the running back position. Because, again, their ground game, and not even just Baker Mayfield protecting himself, that offensive line does a fantastic job of not only protecting Baker Mayfield, but giving the holes for Nick Chubb, who's an absolute beast to pile over this Jaguars defense. So again, Browns -7 is the play. Look for a big win today out of Cleveland and the boys.
Absolutely. Again, I think we're going to see Baker do some big things, and I'm excited to watch it at 1 o'clock. Now, Dan, keeping the 1 o'clock slate going, we're talking about the Tennessee Titans and we're talking about the Indianapolis Colts. Both teams competing at a very high level in the AFC. Both these teams, in my opinion, will be playoff teams and will be teams to watch moving forward into the playoffs. Not only a first-round team, potentially both of these teams, I believe, can make a significant playoff push and make it into the second and maybe even the third round of the playoffs based on the coaching, based on their quarterbacks, and based on what they can do on the defensive side of the football. Dan, let's hear the pick vault score projection and the pick vault play here for the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans as we see Ryan Tannehill and the Titans. And obviously for the Colts, we're talking about Phillip Rivers, who's starting to play, again, some of that football that has just been a staple in his career, which is just playing smart football and getting the ball down the field.
And all right, Matt, so the Colts win this one 26 to a Tennessee Titans 23. So the pick vault play will be Indianapolis Colts money line. And like you said, Matt, Phillip Rivers' MO used to be not being able to finish a game, but at least in LA, well, now LA. So San Diego when he was there. But now he's starting to finish these games. And I think you got to give a lot of credit to this Indianapolis defense. I mean, the things that they're able to do, they get the offense off the ball quick, and they're going to stop Derrick Henry today. They did it when they played him 2 weeks ago, and they're going to do it again because, again, that is how you beat this Tennessee Titans team. Make Ryan Tannehill beat you. The only guy you really have to look out for wide receiver wise is A.J. Brown. You lock up A.J. Brown and just contain Derrick Henry. Don't let him run for 200-something yards. He could run for 100. Just contain him, and the Indianapolis Colts will get this job done today. So, again, Colts money line is the pick vault play.
Absolutely. And, again, you're talking about Derrick Henry, and I believe that's the one key to victory here for the Colts is to stop Derrick Henry. If you can stop Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill can't beat you, in my opinion. And if he does, he does. I don't see it happening. Let's move down here to the next game, and it's my Carolina Panthers and the Minnesota Vikings. The Carolina Panthers going for a statement win today. A big statement to be had here for the Carolina Panthers. I think it means a lot. They're coming off a 20-0 win over the Lions last week, which was not a statement win going back to it because that game you should win, in my opinion. You're talking about Matt Stafford and a team that just has been piss poor, and again, they get a loss here on on Thanksgiving football. Back-to-back losses, and obviously Patricia gets fired. And that team's completely in shambles. But today, the Carolina Panthers have an opportunity, in my opinion, to make a statement win. And it is because you're talking about going up a team that, in my opinion, is the same as you. The same as you. You're talking about a team that's in the exact same position as you, as the Carolina Panthers. You're talking about a team that is obviously, like I said, on the outside of the playoff picture looking in. You have a quarterback. You have a coach. You have a system that you trust. You're probably not making major changes. And that's the same thing with the Carolina Panthers. Moving forward, after this year, Carolina Panthers probably aren't making major changes because they have the pieces that they need. They just need to have everything kind of click and everything happen at once. And that's the same thing with the Minnesota Vikings. I believe they trust in Kirk Cousins. I believe they trust in their offense. I believe they trust in their defense, and they trust in their coach. And that's why it's going to be a very, very interesting match across the board. I'm going to say it. I think this game will be the best 1 o'clock game today. And that is because I think both these teams have a lot to win and really nothing to lose. And they're going to leave it out there on the field today. And that's why I want to hear the pick vault score projection and the pick vault play down.
All right, Matt. The Carolina Panthers do make that statement winning this one 28 to a Minnesota Vikings 26.6. So the pick vault play is your Carolina Panthers plus 3.5. And something also you could look at is the over. Again, the under-over is set at 50, and that score 28 plus 26 does send that over the 50 pretty significantly. Again, look at this Carolina Panthers team getting Teddy Two Gloves back today after P.J. Walker played decent last week. And again, like you're saying, Matt, this Minnesota Vikings team trusts in Kirk Cousins, but they trust in him a little too much because we know what Kirk Cousins is capable of doing, which is shitting the bed most of the time. Yes, he can play well, but again, if your Panthers defense can stop Dalvin Cook, you should have no problem winning this game.
And I know last week our defense was able to perform at a very high level against Matt Stafford and against the team and give up 0 points and shut out a team that, again, historically speaking, Matt Stafford's a very good quarterback in this league, and to shut him out, that's an accomplishment nonetheless, even though obviously the Lions aren't what the Lions have been throughout Stafford's career. I want to say this. I think today you're going to see one thing separate these two teams, and it comes down to coaching. I think obviously across the board, I think from a skill set perspective and from a perspective of talent-wise, I think both these teams, especially without McCaffrey on the field today, I think they're pretty much equivalent for the most part. And I think the differentiating point today will be coaching, and I think we may see a Carolina Panthers trick play. For 3-4 weeks now, Matt Rule, the new Carolina Panthers coach, has shown the league, especially it started in that Chiefs game. It started against the Kansas City Chiefs, where the Panthers really beat the Chiefs, in my opinion. Obviously covered that spread, but beat the Chiefs. In my opinion, had a chance to win the ball game down the stretch and miss a field goal to lose the game. But he showed me something, Matt Rule, that he's willing to make interesting play calls, willing to go for it on fourth down, willing to do fake punts, willing to really go for it in the red zone and try different things. And stylistically speaking, I think we're going to see a trick play out of the Carolina Panthers late in this ball game, maybe in the fourth quarter. That'll completely change the momentum and give the Carolina Panthers, like I said, not only the victory, but a big momentum shift late in this ball game. Third, fourth quarter, watch for them to go for it on fourth down, or watch for one of these reverses, and maybe we see, in my opinion, you could see after last week, you could see P.J. Walker and Teddy Bridgewater on the field at the same time.
I like that.
And that's one thing that I have been reading about. After we saw P.J. Walker last week play competitive football, they get the win, and he had some turnovers, but he played very good football in the NFL, and obviously being close with Matt Rule, going to the same, obviously Rule was his college coach. All of a sudden, I think we're going to see them both on the field today. At one point, maybe late in the third quarter, start of the fourth quarter, watch for a trick play, watch for the Carolina Panthers to win, but they will cover that 3.5 spread. That's why the Carolina Panthers plus 3.5 is the pick ball play. Now, Dan, moving to the 4 o'clock slate. Now, these are going to be the fun games.
About time.
We're talking about the Saints and the Broncos. Now, both of these teams are in very different situations. Obviously, the Saints coming off a big win last week. They're now at the top of the NFC South. They need to get wins across the board because, yes, as much as they are at the top of the division at 8-2, you're talking about a Buccaneers team that at any point in time could pretty much win out because this team is very talented across the board. You have Tom Brady. You have the weapons that he has. You have the defense that he has. You have the coaching staff that he has. And I'm just saying, watch out. Obviously, NFC South, Tom Brady will be there in the playoffs. Anyone that's questioning that, you're foolish, to be honest with you. But here we go. So today we have the Saints and the Broncos, Dan. The Broncos have no quarterback.
That's an interesting one. I want to know your opinion on that, Matt, because like we saw, you kind of mentioned it earlier. The Ravens get game canceled. Lamar Jackson can't play. Let's move the game. You have the Denver Broncos. Not just their starter is out, their backup is out, and their third string is out. So how do you let them even play this game whatsoever? What are your thoughts on the NFL and letting this go on?
Again, I believe if you're going to move the game on Thursday, you have to move this one. That's my take. I think you're picking and choosing your battles, and the reason that the Ravens game, the Ravens-Steelers game gets moved is for ratings. It gets moved because everyone wants to see Lamar Jackson. It gets moved because everyone wants to see the Ravens take on the undefeated Steelers in a primetime game, and that's why they moved it now till Tuesday, because it's going to have its own time slot, its own schedule, and everything, I believe, is going to be hyped around this main game that will be played on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But here we have the same thing. This Broncos team not only doesn't have their starting quarterback, they don't have their backup quarterback or their third string quarterback. All three of them have been diagnosed with COVID-19, and that's going to be something. And then Dan, you could explain this, but they went and they tried to get their their offensive.
It was like their some sort of offensive coordinator position is quality control. He was a quarterback supposedly at UCF in college, so they tried making him play today, and the NFL denied it. I think that would be a story and a half. Talk about ratings. Let the coach be quarterback. That would be nuts. Talk about ratings. I mean, come on.
Yeah, again, I think it's unfair what the NFL is doing. I think Goodell is making a very bad decision, moving the one game and then not moving. You're picking and choosing, and I think at some point in time, it's going to become so evident to the outside world. Everyone's starting to see it now. We're pointing it out here that it's just not fair. You make the like we said earlier in the season, you make the Patriots play without Cam Newton, their quarterback. You then force Rodgers and the Packers to travel to go play a Thursday night game on a short week, travel from Wisconsin all the way across to go play the San Francisco 49ers without pretty much their entire team.
Yeah.
You force the 49ers to play that game when pretty much everyone has COVID-19. You then move the Thursday night game, the Thanksgiving Day game, because ratings. You didn't want to play the game on Thanksgiving when it could have been a major game. You didn't want to play it because stars weren't available. You didn't want to play it because you were worried that, yes, the Steelers were going to absolutely blow out the Ravens if Lamar Jackson wasn't available.
Yeah.
So you move that game to Sunday. Now you move it to Tuesday again. I believe they're moving it to Tuesday because, yes, there has been more COVID-19 cases. And I actually am for moving the game, to be honest with you. I'm for it. But you got to be consistent across the board. If you move that one, you have to move this one. So, Dan, they're not moving it. Broncos have no quarterback. Obviously, the Saints have a plethora of quarterbacks. Not only do they have Drew Brees. Yes, Drew Brees, I don't believe, is available today. He's not playing today. But you have Taysom Hill. You have Jameis Winston. Maybe they should just give one to the other team and see what happens.
that would be nuts.
So, Dan, let's hear the pick vault score projection here for the Saints and the Broncos, and let's hear the pick vault play. Obviously, a 15.5 spread is going to be tough for anyone to cover in the NFL, but let's hear the pick vault play.
All right, Matt. So we got the Saints winning this one 25.7 to a Denver Broncos 10.3. So, again, it is right at that 15.5. And the pick vault play being the New Orleans Saints minus 15.5. But I'll be honest with you, Matt. For everyone out there looking at this game, as much as the analytics and the computer simulation do take in consideration that the Broncos don't have their quarterbacks, I would just stay away from this game in general. I mean, you're dealing with, again, like you said, the Saints don't have Drew Brees. Yeah, we saw Taysom Hill ball out last game, but who knows what to expect. This game just shouldn't be on the table whatsoever. But again, the pick vault play is New Orleans Saints minus 15.5. Look for their defense to obviously make whoever they put back there. They said it could be Judy. They said it could be a practice squad player. So whoever it's going to be, they don't know the offense from the quarterback position, so it's going to be interesting all around. Again, New Orleans Saints get the win. Minus 15.5 is the play.
Absolutely. And so I do think it's going to be interesting to watch. Again, you're talking about a team with no quarterback, and you're talking about a team run by Sean Payton, known for his quarterback play, known for Drew Brees, known for the fact that they have two backup quarterbacks that pretty much, in my opinion, could start on many NFL teams across the board. Very interesting game to be played. I can't wait to watch it, but again, you're talking about the Saints going to get a big win today, and again, they'll improve probably to 9-2 and be again in a great position to win the NFC South and get a bye maybe in the first round. They are leading in the NFC. They have the best record in the NFC, and they actually have the second best record in the entire NFL, behind only the Steelers. So, Dan, you're talking about this team that is just going to be very tough to beat down the stretch in the Saints. And again, hopefully they keep that up, and hopefully we do get to see Drew Brees back on the field by the time the playoffs roll around. I'm excited for that, and I know you are as well. So, Dan, sticking now with the 4 o'clock games. We're talking about a 4:05 start time between the San Francisco 49ers and the LA Rams. Now, in my opinion, these teams are very, very similar. Both teams are in the same division. Both teams are competing. But the 49ers are, in my opinion, are the Rams of last year. That's the easiest way to describe them. They are the Rams of last year. Both of those teams, the Rams last year, come off a Super Bowl loss, and all of a sudden, they don't make the playoffs the following year. And I think the San Francisco 49ers, for whatever reason it is, whether it's the injuries to the quarterback, injuries to any players across the board, whether they're just getting figured out offensively, maybe their defense has some more holes available. This San Francisco 49ers team lose the Super Bowl last year. And again, we're talking about a team in the NFC West that seems to be coming off that Super Bowl hangover and not going to make the playoffs this year. What are your thoughts here, and what is the pick vault score projection for the 49ers and the Rams in this 4 o'clock game?
All right, Matt, my thoughts right off the bat is this Rams football team is probably playing some of the best football they have played, like you said, in that Super Bowl run that they made a couple years back. So I think the big thing here is the defense. I mean, this Rams defense should be able to eat up Jimmy G. And again, they've been dealt a hand of cards between COVID and injuries that this San Francisco 49ers team really hasn't been able to get on any sort of track or system to win ball games. I mean, we saw what Nick Mullen can do. We saw what Jimmy G sort of can do. But again, look for the Rams to have this one. Rams win this one 25.7 to the San Francisco 49ers 18.9. Pick vault play is Rams money line. Again, it is juicy at minus 286, but they will get the job done today between Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. You saw what these guys are capable of doing.
You say it's juicy, and again, I want to clear one thing up for Pickball Nation. I don't believe minus 286 is that juicy at all. I think, again, if you want to make money in this industry at all, you have to be willing to bet on minus 286, because taking the 6.5 spread in this is just foolish.
Yeah.
Because at any point in time, the 49ers have the talent. They have a good quarterback. They have a good system. They were in the Super Bowl last year. Yes, they don't have all their weapons, but this team is good. And at any point in time, that could flip. I think no matter what, the Rams win the game. Honestly, I think no matter what, the Rams win the game. And according to the Pick Vault artificial intelligence win calculation percentage, we got a 78% chance for the Rams to win the game. That is why you play the minus 286. Yes, it's more than we would like. You say it's juicy. I agree. It might be a little bit juicy, but that's how you make money in this industry.
Yep.
If you're not willing to do it, and you're going to bet on the spread, and you're going to put it down at 6.5 at minus 107, the value's there. Okay, cool. But what happens when it loses and they win the game by 4? Then you lose your money.
You're pissed.
You lose your 107. You lose a unit.
Yeah.
And then you come to us if we give you the minus 6.5 as a play, and you're like, oh, you guys lost. Well, again, yes, I believe they cover the 6.5 spread. The Pick Vault artificial intelligence is saying they're going to cover the 6.5 spread. But the smart play is, lay the 286. Enjoy your money and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Right? You want to make money? Be smart with your money. We can only tell you what we think you should do, right? The rest is on you. Now let's move now here to the 425 time slot. We got the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. This game is America's game of the week. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Bruce Arians. You're talking about two teams that probably right now, if you looked across the board from a money perspective, this is probably the Super Bowl matchup that money is backing right now. And obviously the Super Bowl matchup that I believe the NFL is hoping for. Yeah. And I will say, if we do not see these two teams play in the Super Bowl, this might be the final time we ever see Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes playing football on the same field, right? Two of the greatest players. Again, I hate to compare Patrick Mahomes to Tom Brady. I think it's unfair. It's unfair to both of them. It's unfair to Tom Brady because I don't think Patrick Mahomes has earned that yet. And it's unfair to Patrick Mahomes because he's so young in his career. You're putting an expectation on this guy to be unbelievable for years and years to come. But again, when you sign the contract that he signed, and you're locked into pretty much 12 years of Kansas City football, and you're locked into being that star guy, the face of the NFL, and the future face of the NFL, especially when Tom Brady does retire. And in fact, many people are saying he's already kind of there. All I'm going to say is I'm telling you, this is going to be something we're taking for granted. And you don't want to take this one for granted. I think it's a mistake. It's a mistake for the NFL to put this game at 425. Yes, it's America's game of the week. I think it should be the Monday Night Football game the Sunday Night Football game, because I think this game is going to be more fun to watch than that one.
Oh, yeah.
But on top of it, I also think it's a respect to the two very, very, very talented quarterbacks and two quarterbacks that are helping the NFL significantly. So, Dan, without further ado, let's hear the score projection here, the Pick Vault artificial intelligence score projection here for the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. Like we said, we're talking about two of the best quarterbacks going head-to-head. It's probably going to be a very high-scoring game.
All right, Matt, so this is the closest projection that we have. The Kansas City Chiefs, 27.9 to a Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 26.3, making the Pick Vault play Bucks plus 3.5. And you know what I love about this game, Matt? You're going off Tom Brady and Bruce Arians feuding because of what went on the last time they played primetime football. And in my opinion, like you said, this should be primetime football. And that's how Tom Brady has to play it.
It is primetime football. It's America's game of the week at 425 with Tony Romo and Jim Nantz. So it is prime time. It's just not the prime time that I think it should be. I think it should be a Monday night or a Sunday night football game.
Absolutely. So like I was saying, I just think this is a game where Tom Brady, you're going to silence all the haters that are like, what's going on in Tampa? This offense isn't clicking. But we see it again. They may shit the bed in primetime once, but this is a game where they're going to bounce back against a Chiefs defense that isn't as great as they were last year. I think there are some holes to that team, and with the weapons that Brady has, you got to have more fun with the offense. They have so many weapons. They run no trick plays like your Panthers do. I think if they have a little more fun and, a little more of a Sean McVay-esque kind of approach to this offense, they could be killers, man. We're going to see it, though, today. So, again, Bucks plus 3.5 is the Pick Vault play.
Well, again, the reason I think we're talking about a Chiefs team and a Buccaneers team that are going to be fun to watch today on primetime football, with like I said, with Jim Nantz and Tony Romo calling the game, is because you're talking about two quarterbacks that are going to play this game smart. Tom Brady coming off a main loss where he's been in the spotlight pretty much on every news network, every sports news network whatsoever across the board. You're talking about him being the story. And frankly, That's what's going to happen moving forward. Tom Brady, no matter what happens today, whether he goes out and puts up 425 passing yards, or if Tom Brady goes out there and throws 4 picks today, it doesn't matter. He'll be the story tomorrow. Same with Patrick Mahomes, and that's why I think these two quarterbacks are so similar. No matter what they do, if Patrick Mahomes puts up 5 touchdown passes and puts up 500 passing yards, which is very much in the realm of possibility today, he'll be the story. But if he goes out there and he throws, 40% passing and he throws for 200 passing yards and 2 picks, he'll probably be the story tomorrow in every morning show and every talk show possible. Right. So it's going to be fun to watch. Tune into this one. I do think the Buccaneers have a legitimate chance to win. And especially speaking of this, I say it every week. The team, in my opinion, that wins the game, the team that should get the edge for the most part, is a team that needs to win more. Because they just have a little bit more motivation, a little bit more pushing them. And I think this game is so important for the Buccaneers, they have to win it. And I like the Buccaneers money line at plus 160. Again, this is one of those things. I would probably put the money there because taking the 3.5, you're safe. I do think you're probably safe. I think this game's going to come down to a field goal, but I do believe the field goal is going to come from the leg of the Buccaneers kicker and obviously from the back of Tom Brady, pushing them down the field in a late tie game, late drive here for Tom Brady down the stretch in that one. But we'll find out. Take the Buccaneers plus 3.5. That's the pick ball play. Now, finally, the last game of this slate, the last game on Sunday Night Football, 8:20 p.m. Again, the game that I was hoping maybe we would see Tom Brady and the Chiefs, and obviously Patrick Mahomes going head-to-head. But at 8:20, we got the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers going up against, I don't even know. Is it Nick Foles? Is it Trubisky?
Today, I think it actually is Mitch.
What side of the bed did Nagy wake up on? I mean, because you're talking about a guy that can't make up his freaking mind. You're talking about a guy that, again, has one of the best defenses in the history of the NFL, and he's wasting it. Yeah. He is wasting it.
For years.
You're wasting it. That's why I think it's foolish they went out and got Nick Foles. Foolish. Because there's no difference between Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky. No difference. And you look like an idiot now, the organization. You look like an idiot because you went out there and paid Foles so much freaking money. And he's the same quarterback that you already have. And you can't even make the decision who you want to start.
Right, that's the problem.
So you go into it, you go get a guy that you believe because he's a Super Bowl champion, with one of the better teams ever. I mean, honestly, and one of the greatest coaches. I mean, what Doug Peterson did in that run is so underrated. So underrated. He was coaching football the same style that Matt Rule is coaching now, which is we're gonna put our best effort out there, and we're gonna come at you with stuff you've never seen. The Philly special. That becomes the story. But the real story is not the Philly special. The real story is the fact that a guy in Doug Peterson in a Super Bowl game has the balls to call that play call. And again, that is the kind of football we do not see from the Eagles today. No. And that's the kind of football that this Bears team needs to play. That's the only chance you got of winning with Nick Foles. That is the only chance you got of winning. You might lose, but that's better. I'd rather lose putting my ass on the line. I'd rather lose making a dumb mistake than lose playing football and giving Nick Foles or Mitch Trubisky the opportunity to win me a game. It's not going to happen. These guys just aren't talented enough in the league today. And look who you're going up against.
Yeah, that's what
you're going up against Aaron freaking Rodgers, the greatest thrower of the football, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Again, you're talking about 3 quarterbacks back to back to back. You're talking about 3 quarterbacks in a 4-hour time slot. Just Patrick Mahomes will be playing. Tom Brady will be playing. And Aaron Rodgers within 4 hours in primetime football. If you're a young quarterback, if you're a young football player and you want to learn the freaking game, watch these 2 games. Watch these quarterbacks play. Watch what they do. Yeah, Tom Brady gets flack. Yeah, Patrick Mahomes get flack. Patrick Mahomes is more talented than anyone on the planet right now. Anyone. I don't care what sport they play. Patrick Mahomes is more talented than anyone on the planet right now in any sport across the board. That includes anyone in specified sports. I don't care if it's an Olympic sport, boxing, UFC. I don't care if it's baseball, hockey, basketball, soccer. I don't care. Patrick Mahomes is the most talented player in the face of the planet, the most talented athlete on the face of the planet today. And he's going up against Tom Brady. That's going to be interesting to watch again. And then we're talking about this game. You got 2 of the worst starting quarterbacks, in my opinion, 2 of the worst starting quarterbacks available today that are going to be playing, going up against Aaron Rodgers. And Aaron Rodgers with something to prove. Aaron Rodgers that needs a win because his division's getting tight.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, who knows somebody's on his back. He's got Jordan Love on his back, right? His team didn't go out and get him somebody in the draft. They didn't do anything for him. So today we see Aaron Rodgers and this Packers team that is trying to compete for a chance to make an NFC playoff push and maybe make a run, maybe play against the Seahawks, maybe play against Tom Brady, maybe see some. And all of a sudden that needs to start today because you're playing against an NFC opponent that if the season were to end right now, both these teams would be in the playoffs right this second.
Well, that's
and
what
these
kills
two
me.
teams are going head to head in a game that's going to matter more than ever in the NFC North. More than ever. And again, Matt Nagy gets a lot of credit for winning ball games with the team that he's won, but all I'm going to say is the real credit should be to this defense. Because offensively speaking, I think he, coaching-wise, has made so many dumb decisions, and that starts with Nick Foles. Mitch Trubisky goes 3-0. 3-0 to start the season. 3-0. You can't do better than that. I don't understand. You then go and put Nick Foles in as a starting quarterback.
It's because of the money.
And Nick Foles looks like shit. And now you look like an idiot when you go back to Trubisky and now back to Foles and then back to Trubisky and now back. Make a freaking decision and stick with it. Guess what? You made a mistake. You made a mistake with Nick Foles. Say it. Say it. Go out in the media. We messed up. Nick Foles is not who we thought he was. I know you can't say it, but that is what we need to hear from Matt Nagy. That's what we need to hear from this Bears defense. And that is when I'll respect him. And that's when I'll respect any GM, any coach, any manager across the league. That is when I'll respect them. When they can go out in the public eye and they can say, you know what? We really messed up. We really messed up here. Because we spent $40 million on another quarterback who was the exact same quarterback that we got second overall, which was a mistake to begin with.
That's another mistake.
So across the board, I think the only person to blame for anything that happens to the Bears the remaining of the season, because this team right now is in the playoff picture. I'll guarantee this right now. Sorry, Bears fans. Sorry, anyone out there. This Bears team will not make the playoffs this year. They will not make the playoffs this year. I actually think the Carolina Panthers got a better chance of making the playoffs than this Bears team.
I'd put my money on
because of the fact, I'm just telling you, they're making too many mistakes from the coaching perspective, too many mistakes from the general manager perspective, and that starts trickling down to the players on a daily basis. So, Dan, let's hear the pick vault score projection for the Bears and the Packers, or should I say the team that has no quarterback against a team that has one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
All right, Matt. Well, the team with the greatest quarterback of all time wins this one 27.5 in the Green Bay Packers against the Chicago Bears, who will lose this one 27.5 to 17.1. Sorry about that. But the pick vault play is Packers -9, like you said. In a primetime game, Matt Nagy's going back and forth. Mitch, Nick. Well, guess what? Mitch Trubisky, I believe, will see the field today. But like you said, you might see Nick Foles. You might see Mitch Trubisky. In a primetime game, this is the worst time to swap a quarterback. And now you got the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. And he loves lighting it up in the primetime and proving people wrong. He doesn't give a shit about the MO of this Chicago Bears defense. He'll go throw 400 yards. It doesn't matter. So again, pick vault play is Packers -9, and score projection again is Packers 27.5 to a Chicago Bears 17.1. Matt.
Absolutely, and again, I think we're talking about at least a 10-point win here for the Packers, and that comes down to the fact that their quarterback is just that much better. That's just a simple answer. The simple answer, and I think we are going to see an opportunity, and this is the last thing I'll end off here. I think we're going to see an opportunity for Aaron Rodgers, an opportunity for this Packers offense to showcase what they could do against the great defense. Because yes, as much as I just shit on the Bears are in the playoff hunt right now, but that's because of this defense. And in fact, I think today we're going to see Aaron Rodgers expose this defense that has been known to be so great this season and so great historically speaking. This Bears defense exposed today by Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. So again, across the board, a quick rundown here for pick vault plays. We start here at the 1 o'clock side. We got the Miami Dolphins -7 over the New York Jets. We have the LA Chargers +4.5 over the Bills. We have the Atlanta Falcons +3 over the Raiders. We have the New England Patriots money line +120 value over the Arizona Cardinals. Upset alert there. At 1 o'clock, we have the New York Giants money line, minus 265 over the Cincinnati Bengals. We have the Cleveland Browns minus 7 over the Jacksonville Jaguars. We have the Indianapolis Colts money line over the Tennessee Titans. Great matchup there. We have the Carolina Panthers plus 3 over the Vikings. In my opinion, the best 1 o'clock game. Better watch that one. But again, the Carolina Panthers plus 3.5 over the Vikings. Next up, we have the LA Rams money line. Again, this is the one we say we probably think they're going to cover the 6.5, but again, be smart with it. The LA Rams money line over the 49ers. And then at the 4 o'clock, again, the 4 o'clock time slot, we have the New Orleans Saints minus 15.5 over the Denver Broncos. We have the the Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 3.5 over the Kansas City Chiefs. And then finally capping off our slate, the Pick Vault picks, the Pick Vault plays. We have the Green Bay Packers minus 9 over the Chicago Bears with no quarterback whatsoever. Again, a pick and a play and a score projection for each and every NFL game being played today. Thank you for listening. We know it's been fun. We know it's been a long episode, and we've gone through so much. We have a major announcement coming out tomorrow. You don't want to miss it, so make sure you tune into that episode. We're going to be recapping this game and obviously talking about Monday Night Football, and maybe even touching on that Tuesday night game between the Ravens and the Steelers. Again, a great week, a great slate today, and obviously a great week of football coming up. Make sure you guys watch it and make sure you enjoy your weekend. Everyone, I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your weekend, enjoy your football, and get ready to unlock your money. I believe we are
OUT out.
You've been listening to the Pick Vault, the premier predictive sports media platform and entertainment network. Matt Taylor and Danny Siv are ready to make you a winner and unlock your money. Make sure to hit the website at www.thepickvault.com. Find the app and subscribe to find exclusive member content, including our picks, live updates, and sports news. Follow on Twitter and Instagram at The Pick Vault, taking sports betting to the next level. Helping you unlock your money. Till next time, this is The Pick Vault, signing off.
It's the Pick Vault. Gonna sit you down and listen to this real talk. Ain't no first or second option, this the default. Turning picks into these dollars, gonna let them fall. Raining down these daily winnings like an aerosol. Analytics calculated just to win it all. Problems when it comes to choosing, we got all them solved. Got the picks that needin' fixed, and you know who to call. Cause this the Pick Vault.